October 27, 2006, Billings, Montana. A woman was walking from her car to her home from a late night at work. Little did she know, a 30-year-old man had broken into her home and was waiting for her inside. In the kitchen, the man attacked the woman and began sexually assaulting her. During the violent struggle, the woman managed to grab a knife from a kitchen drawer and stab her assailant. That frightful night in 2006 ended when a woman fought back. In that high-stress situation, would you know what to do? Today, we're going to show you when using a knife as a self-defense tool, the 3 most important areas to attack if your attacker is brandishing a weapon. The Law Enforcement Training Facility in Highlands Ranch, Colorado is the epicenter for law enforcement and special forces training from around the country. It is also the grounds for the Practical Tactical Team to show you at home how not to be a victim.
First rule of a gunfight, of course, have a gun. One thing that the gun guys forget is if they travel outside of an area where they can't legally carry a gun, they still need to have some type of tool that they can use to defend themselves. And that's where knives are great.
Michael Janich is the founder and creator of Martial Blade Concepts and is considered to be one of the best in hand-to-hand and edged weapons combat. Janich and his assistant will focus on proven techniques and show how to apply them in defensive situations.
Always work with training knives. Again, never work with live weapons when you're training. What we're going to look at is a defense against one of the most common attacks, which we consider to be an angle 1. It's somebody swinging something at your head or your neck. It could be a stick, a brick, bottle, board. I really don't care. My technique using the knife is going to be the same. So Eric takes a shot at me. My first shot is to get out of the way and to cut the flexor tendons on the inside of his forearm. If you look at the function of the hand, basically the muscles of the forearm pull on the tendons in the wrist, and that's what closes the fingers to allow you to grip a weapon. But there's no guarantees, so we have to follow it up. I look at where I'm chambered. I'm now chambered for a backhand shot. My next target is going to be his tricep muscle on the back of the arm. The tricep is a muscle that extends his elbow. The second targeting priority is bicep and tricep. So what you do is you take away the ability to bend and extend the elbow, and therefore they don't have coordinated motion of the arm. You notice also after I cut, I came in and I checked with the back of my arm. And I'm also checking his knee here. I'm now chambered for another forehand shot. What I'm going to do is stick this in deep to the inside of his thigh, rotate it in the thigh, and then walk that through to cut his quadricep. And finally, you cut above the knee the quadricep muscle. That takes away their ability to support weight, takes away their mobility, and allows you to create distance and safety. So when we put this all together,
conducting hand-to-hand drills is essential when training with any self-defense tool. In this next demonstration, pork tenderloin will be used to simulate human muscle. Knives
are man's oldest tools, so when you look at it from the utility aspect, just having something that is small, convenient, and having that with you at all times is a great way to go. What we've got here is a demonstration we call Pork Man. What this is designed to do is to teach you what you can actually do with a knife. So what we've got here is a wooden dowel. The dowel basically represents a bone. Over this, what I've got is pork roasts, and I've tied those on with some very heavy twine. That represents connective tissues, things like tendons and ligaments. So what we want to do is figure out what our knife will do to a target like this. That way we can understand how we can affect human anatomy when we use it defensively. You're going to have some type of clothing over the top, and you're going to have to work through that in order to be able to cut. So we'll look at, first of all, just a basic cut going through the front here. You ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we've got, certainly had no problem getting through the jeans. As far as the penetration here, I'm in all the way to the bone. If you have loose clothing, what we do is what we call a comma cut. With a comma cut, we thrust first, and we thrust on the inside of the leg here to achieve penetration through the clothing. Then we're going to turn while we're in the tissue and then cut our way out. You ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Went in here, and the reason we call it a comma cut, you can see a little bit of a curve right here as it cut out. Again, I'm in down to the bone.
In the eyes of the law, a knife can be a deadly weapon, and its use on another human can be considered lethal force. Remember to check the laws in your area, as they may differ on the local, state, and federal levels.
So when you look at the knife as a tool that provides lethal force capability as well as scalable application of force.
Whatever your self-defense weapon of choice may be, training and practice are vital to any personal protection plan. The scenes in Hollywood are all the same. A group of law enforcement officers kick the front door of a suspect's home in or bust it down using their shoulder. This is not the way real police do a dynamic entry.
When you have a TV situation where people are shooting locks and kicking doors, that's for TV, that's not for real life.
Marty Wozniak is the creator of dynamic entry tools for international tactical company Blackhawk.
Dynamic entry is a term that is used for an assault on a building, and the whole concept is to create that shock and awe to get a tactical advantage on a suspect.
Police officers and special forces rely on devices to assist them in dynamic entry methods. These proven tactical techniques can be used by the average citizen in any number of scenarios. Natural and man-made devastations are seen all over the world. Hurricane Katrina and the earthquake in Haiti left millions of people trapped. When faced with a situation where a locked or stuck door must be breached to save lives, what do the experts do? And what can you do if you ever find yourself in a similar scenario? To meet this challenge, Marty Wozniak and Blackhawk have developed the Special Operations Entry Ram.
Where it would take maybe 400 pounds of force to break an interior door, it may take 1,200 pounds of force for an exterior door. Some of these entry rams that we're developing generate 2,000 pounds of force. After we've press checked the door and we make sure the locking mechanism is tight against the door, we're going to make sure that that set is nice and flush to the strike face of the ram. We're then going to swing back. That's exactly the way it works. We use kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is nothing more than weight and velocity. If we're able to create more velocity with an object, and that object is weighted, it'll create more kinetic energy when it strikes the door. And hopefully what it's going to do is just shear the lock through the locking mechanism and just break it off through the other side. A person could easily develop, 400 pounds of force with their foot to break down an interior door, or their shoulder, which I absolutely don't suggest. But then there's that point where you cannot go any higher, and you would just be damaging yourself.
If a Blackhawk entry tool is not at your disposal, such items as a fire extinguisher or large tree branch will create enough force to break the lock of the door, given you use Marty Wozniak's techniques.
If we're inside the building and we need to get out, what's the best way for us to get out?
Windows. In regards to getting out of a situation, if a person found that someone's breaking into their house, they need to know how to get out of there safely to avoid any threats that are coming their way.
Statistics show that a home break-in happens every 15 seconds. In fact, even when the home is occupied, there is a 6 in 10 chance of a burglary still taking place.
Everybody should have a safe room in their house. Inside of that room, they should have additional locks on the door, have things like a telephone, understand the mechanics of your window, and simple things like a baseball bat. The baseball bat could be used to aid you in the break and rake of a window if you need to exit. They have these little ladders for fire escapes for $89, and something like that to have in the safe room if it's a second story. It's a very, very inexpensive way to protect yourself. What we have here, we replicated a standard window that you would find in a bedroom. The anatomy of a window, we develop tools for SWAT teams that have hardened points and they have blades on them. What I've brought today was a mini break and rake. We designed this for law enforcement and military. We have a sharp point that would actually break the glass, and we have these fins that would rake the glass from the window frame, and we put on safety hand grips so you have a little bit of force and energy to break the window properly. One thing that we train SWAT officers is we always go high to low. We don't want people to get injured because the last thing you want to do is break through a window and have lacerations that will cause you problems later. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and break the window. As far as in a residence, you have several items inside of your house that you could use. Something as simple as a hammer will do a sufficient break and rake operation for you to safely exit the window.
Excellent. All right, let's get some glasses on and give this thing a try. So I'm just going to come up, and you said start at the corners.
There's several things that you could use to break and rake. You can use a lamp, or you can break off a leg from a end table. Things as simple as barbells that can be thrown through a window or used to break the window and then clear the glass shards out. You can use a baseball bat.
We did get the glass to come back quite a bit farther on us, so if you got other kids around, get them out of the way.
Absolutely. Just as long as you have standoff between you and the glass when you're breaking it, you'll have no problem going through it. And after you have the majority of the very sharp shards out of your way, utilize a blanket or a pillow or something to
go over
top of that so you can safely exit the window.
Excellent.
The best way to survive a home break-in or natural disaster is to prepare for one. Over 150,000 people lost their lives during the Haiti earthquake. How many lives could have been saved if rescue workers had the proper tools and training? In high disaster areas such as California and the Gulf Coast, Blackhawk entry and exit tools are a must-have for the workplace. Every family, home, and workplace should have an emergency survival plan in place should disaster strike you. January 2009, Amherst, New York. A 17-year-old girl was jogging alone at night when she was attacked, pulled behind a building, and then raped. This is a story that happens more times than we like to admit, as every 2 minutes, someone is sexually assaulted in the United States.
The understanding is that you need to be protecting yourself even when you don't think you need protected.
Self-defense instructor and third-degree black belt in martial arts, Teresa Byrne is an expert on personal protection and safety.
I, as a self-defense expert, am lucky enough to have gone through several experiences. I was attacked at a football game, and without even thinking about it, I reached out and stopped the 19-year-old attacker with my arm around his throat. The choice is to make the choice not to be a victim. My world used to be pretty dangerous. Not anymore, because I've got all the tools I need.
Okay, Teresa, we're going to show some footage here of you jogging and see what would happen if somebody were to come out and attack you. What advice do you have for us on this?
Well, I think the key is situational awareness, and if these things are cranked up and I'm really enjoying my tunes, I cannot hear someone coming after me, someone coming up behind me, and chances are I won't even see somebody if they come at me from the side. When women are jogging and not aware, then they become easy targets. If they're aware, if they've got their iPod down enough so that they can hear their fingers snapping, they're much more likely to not ever have to have an assault happen. All right, so my iPod's down, I can hear myself snap. I know that if someone jumps out at me, I can protect myself. No! 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 Studies have shown when people go through martial arts, there's a less likely chance of attack. All right, so here's what I did. That was pretty fast. Come on at me. So he's gonna grab me. He's gonna try to pull me that way. I'm gonna use my body weight to jump up and pull down so that I can take his arms out. He's not expecting it. I'm gonna scream no the whole time or just scream my head off. I'm gonna knee him in the groin. And if that didn't work the first time, I'm gonna knee him in the groin the second time. Boom! And go right into his groin. One of the things that men will typically do is they'll drop their head if they think that they're going for the groin. Then he's gonna be a good target. I can kick him in the knee. It takes about 12 pounds of pressure to buckle someone's knee. You wanna aim for the outside of the knee or the front side of the knee. And then I would probably do something else and kick him and throw him down as I run to get away, and always have my cell phone on me so I can call 911 when I need to. The other thing that women don't realize is that most of the time, these guys that are jump out of the bushes kind of guys, they're expecting you to freeze. We don't know what to do and we're not trained, so we don't do anything. Then the bad guy gets the advantage. So even if I can remember just to strike out, strike at his eyes, strike forward, use my body weight, and kick toward him, I have a much better chance of survival. And then if someone comes up to you, you've got to be able to act.
You know, there's so many different things to think about with this stuff, so what can we tell our viewers?
Well, the most important part of understanding going out jogging, don't go at night. Don't go alone. If a woman is jogging by herself, she's obviously not paying attention. She looks like an easy target. Don't ever look like an easy target. Make sure that you've got something with you that you could use as a weapon. Make sure you carry your cell phone with you. It's hard for us to imagine that a predator would jump out and take you, but we don't think like predators. We don't think like these guys that are going to attack us. And that's part of the changing your mindset and understanding the awareness of what's going on. Being a victim is a choice. I invite everybody that watches the series to choose not to be a victim.
With almost 4,000 violent crimes happening each day, you are bound to find yourself in a potentially threatening or dangerous situation at some time. Don't let yourself become a statistic. It is vitally important that you get the tools and the training necessary to defend yourself or your loved one should the time come. Be alert, be safe, be prepared, be trained, and don't be a victim.